All right. So, welcome everyone to the Youth Advisory Commission. My name is Jennifer Safford, and I chair the commission. I also work for Clark University and do some work around the Youth Violence Prevention Initiative. So, whoever wants to go next can go.
Judy Kirk, retired youth development professional, been sitting here for a really long time.
Thank you. Who wants to go next?
Bryant Cortez, school adjustment counselor at Burncoat High School.
Thank you.
I'll go. Casey Burns, Coalition for the Greater Worcester.
Um,
I'm Jerry Abreu, Assistant Director for the Division of Youth Opportunities.
Hi everyone, Ricardo Basurto, newly joined to the Division of Youth Opportunities team as a Community Engagement Specialist. Good to see you all.
Great. Thank you.
And Raquel Castro Corazzini, Director of Division of Youth. My camera's not working still. Sorry, I don't know what's wrong.
That's okay.
Hi everyone, Tempe Staples. I am also with the Coalition for a Healthy Greater Worcester, helping out with the Children and Youth CHIP, and have a couple updates that I'm joining you all today about our community conversations for the CY CHIP.
All right. Wonderful. So we we don't have, were folks able to read the minutes from our last meeting? We will need to take a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Casey. We'll need a second. Judy, second. Awesome. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So moved. So we were originally going to talk about advocacy strategies around youth employment, and our next our next step was that we wanted to have a conversation with the city manager, so that we could kind of bring him up to speed with what our thoughts were around the urgency around youth employment for summer. We didn't get him on the agenda to come here. What I think we're going to do, Jordy and I were going to try to schedule a meeting with him to kind of pass along that information. But instead, I know that we have some updates in general around the youth chip and some other things. And then Raquel, you had messaged around, and I don't remember exactly what you were going to talk about specifically, but you had a good plan, and that's what we were going to follow through with. So where did we want to start? Raquel, you had mentioned.
I was gonna say that Tempe was going to present, could only be here for like the beginning. And
Okay.
so
Start
with
with Tempe. Perfect.
Yeah.
All
Cool.
right. Sounds good. All right, Tempe, take it away.
Hi guys. Yeah, thanks for your time. And actually, I can stay on a little longer. Assumption has canceled class. So good to hang out if you would like me to.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you.
Of course, we love to have you.
Fabulous. Well, I guess in the, effort of good news is the children and youth chip efforts are on timeline and moving along well. We wrapped up our community conversations with 5 through 10-year-olds a little earlier this month, and we are just starting to conduct some qualitative analysis on those transcripts, and we're getting them organized and cleaning the data. And there's some pretty obvious codes that are already starting to emerge. And I wanted just to share with this group that part of our process of what we want to ensure we do is there needs to be a really a ample amount of like reflection. Specifically, it would be great, we're thinking, to be able to do some reflection and processing with youth, kind of through a time, like a life course lens. We're thinking, we did these community conversations with 5 through 10-year-olds. And a lot of what we're learning and what, is being kind of learned from these conversations are things that are very obviously like, oh, this child is at like a turning point in their life already at the age of 5, that if there's not intervention here, we can already predict what is going to happen to them when they're 20 or what they're at like higher risk of when they're 20. And so through that lens, what we want to consider is once this initial analysis is done, actually doing like a reflection session with older youth, high school, kind of college age, what have you, to take a look at the themes of what we've learned and have them reflect on it and ask that question of like, what's resonating with you? What do you think is missing? What do you think we need to explore more deeply to make sure that the results of the Children and Youth CHIP are fully realized, especially when we're starting to kind of draw up some essential recommendations. And so really bringing this up here to this group, happy to share what some of those emerging themes are, but also wanted to talk about trying to actually organize some youth to get together either in person, over Zoom, what have you, to do that reflection session with us. And we would do that with youth as well as some of our other subcommittees, and would also be happy to present the results with this specific group of people.
I love that. So one of the things that I'm thinking is the community advisory board that falls under Shannon would be a good to be able to participate in that, because they have the lens of lived experience in terms of typically gang involvement and violence, and and are of that kind of older youth age group. So I think that would be a good folks to add to this.
Yeah, that would be great. And I think are those the youth who I met at Clark forever ago at like the data summit meeting, or is this a totally different group?
Yep. Nope. They were at the summit meeting. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would be great to get together with them. I think that's something that, and I'm obviously happy to help lead organizing that, but we're looking maybe trying to do that like by the end of March. I don't know if that's too tight of a timeline, maybe early April. But we definitely want to, get their lens on the work that's been done so far, because it would also allow us some time that if we want to go out and if there's any gaps that we need to fill and set up a couple more focus groups, we'd have time to do that.
Mm-hmm. I'll put in the chat the contact. So Angel Guzman and Frankie Franco lead the CAB, and so they would be the ones to be able to help with that.
I was just going to add that we have Ricardo here who can do any of the outreach. Now, again, Tempu, we have another person that can support with that work. And that's why I kind of wanted him here at today's meeting, because I wanted Tim to hear you and also get a sense of the commission. But this is a good opportunity to say like, hey, you have a new we have a new community engagement, which can do all our communications and can support in that way. And is happy to support in that way.
Fabulous. Okay, yay. Cool.
So now you have the contact information here. Ricardo and Jen will also share Frankie and Angel's, or I have, whatever, any of us. I'm happy to do an intro email to them for you, Ricardo, and we can get it from there. The other question I have for you, Tempe, is can you just give us a sense of like what normally that feedback looks like, just for people here, if they have any other places like that we could recommend. Can you just give us a sense of like what that would look like?
Sure, yeah, and let me know if my answer is sufficient or not. What we're envisioning based on what we've done in the past is we'll have like, especially if we do this in person, I feel like that's ideal. We'll have like all of the themes up on like flip chart paper of like, these are the core issues we're hearing from kids. One just low hanging fruit I can think of is like, we're hearing from a lot of kids that they have no regulation at home with their screen time. They're getting screen time 24/7 at school and an after school program, and they're going to bed at like 3 a.m. And these are like 7 and 8-year-olds. That's a developing brain issue. Now, is that something that like the city can fully intervene on? No. But it's something that like all of us as stakeholders should be aware of, and like putting that up there and having these guiding questions to the reflection audience of like, okay, here is an issue we are hearing directly from this age range. What are your thoughts on this? Does this resonate with you? If you were to recommend a solution to this, especially from the youth perspective, what is your recommendation? What do you think we need to explore more? Are there questions you think we need to dive deeper on to give us that feedback so that we can bring that into a second round of analysis and go deeper? It would really be that kind of like, we wouldn't just throw it to them and be like, what do you think? There would be guided questions to help them kind of go deep with us on what we're learning with the themes. And if there's things that they're like, we're surprised we're not seeing this topic emerging, could we delve into, I'm trying to think of something just like nutrition at school or something along those lines. We often learn, you don't know what you don't know until the population themselves informs us of just like where to direct the research and where we might need to fill in some gaps. I don't know if that was kind of vague or if that was a helpful
Yeah.
process.
And so I have like another, I don't know if this is a kooky question, but what if we asked like a group of their peers to comment on the findings? Like what if we asked other like 7 and 8-year-olds? So this is what other of your peers are saying. What do you think about that? Like, is that something that would that give us any return on investment?
I think that it's worth it. Yeah, I think that's been something we've been talking about a bit. The hardest thing is just like not being able to do this within the schools themselves is pretty tough. That being said, we have already built through this process really good relationships with after school programs. And so I think if we can just continue on that end of, could we come back in and do like a mini presentation with the kids that does not require too much of their attention span? We lose them after 30 minutes. To get their thoughts of like literally even something of like put a gold star on something that like like you jive with, you relate to, what don't you relate to, anything else, any other, forms of feedback. I think that is something we could set up. The nice thing about, I will say, the way we did this was very much through like an equity population lens. And so if you looked at our demographic survey, you would see we had a really, really good representation of kids from different neighborhoods in Worcester, parents with different backgrounds, and kids who disproportionately are like using the WRTA, parents who have lower incomes and are using SNAP. And so I think the after school programs that we were accessing will continue to be a good place to reach more of their peers. I think it's really just a matter of organizing things and making things as easy for parents as possible. That was like one of the biggest takeaways of this, is like doing it during after school time, right before parents pick their kids up, is like the best place to be able to do a reflection session.
I love that idea too. I think it'll really help in that age group. I feel like having them in a group doing that and then being able to react to that too can sometimes be helpful in those that are kind of like more shy to talk
Yes.
about. And then it really does help like triangulate that data and ensure that it's really valid. So I do like that idea too.
Especially because I think parents would be parents would be less hesitant to participate in this than they would in like the focus groups asking their own children about this than to be like
Yeah,
comment on this. So we might get a more diverse pool of kids participating. That's the other part I was thinking. I was like, oh, well,
yeah.
it's a little sneaky, but it would allow us to capture some of those voices that weren't represented at the focus level.
Definitely. Definitely.
It kind of allows them to play without realizing, like, and they're like providing some analysis for us, and I think that that's also important.
I
For
was
sure.
just thinking about different groups. I mean, I'm a little distant from this, so I don't know necessarily who to call, but I can tell you who I think. Um, I'm wondering if you could reach out to the WEC agencies or the WEIR agencies, or if you've been in touch with them. They may be particularly interested in engaging in this part of the process.
Yes, that's a good
That
point, Judy.
so they could just promote it, or maybe they would have you on to do something as part of one of their meetings to promote it to those agencies, and then they could volunteer directly with you um, at that
Yeah, I
point.
think there's a lot of potential there, especially because we did present, now I don't even remember when, the winter is going by so fast. But Raquel and I did present to the WEC Roundtable just a couple months ago. And I know that they have another meeting coming up on Thursday. So that could be a potential opportunity just to announce, like, hey, we're looking to get this organized if possible. So I'll put that on my priority list this week for sure. But yeah, I love that idea. I love that idea, kind of across with at the peer level, but also maybe at the older level, to get some really thorough reflection. Because I think also that's just going to be a big part of this thematic analysis. As you can imagine, like
Hmm.
the dream would have been to get like 105-year-olds to participate in focus groups. That is a challenge to do. Across, these little after school programs in time also to actually get this report done by June. So I like this kind of more creative way of catching more voices and perspectives.
The other question I kind of have is around our goal of who's I don't know, a goal of like who gets to comment on this. Is there, and I guess I don't really know what the rhyme or reason would be, but wondering like when you do this for like the cha, is there like a goal of we want, like, for example, stakeholders here would be also parents. And so I'm wondering, is that
Hmm.
do we yeah do our parents gonna comment on what these kids have said?
They can. I
Do we
would
want them to?
disaggregate
I don't
it.
know. Mhm.
Yeah, that would be a question I would have for you guys because anything's possible. Like, Casey, I see you nodding your head. Like, what we've done in the past is we actually like completely separate out. For instance, if we're getting feedback from institutional leaders, their feedback, while legitimate, is put into a completely different pool from like everyday people with lived experience so that we can see through an equity lens like here's what the institutions and the decision makers are thinking and feeling, here's what the people on the receiving end are thinking and feeling, where is their alignment, where is there not alignment, and we learn a lot from that process. So I would for sure do that. Like I wouldn't want to blend child and parent feedback together. We'd want that to be happening separately. But then the question is also like, do we want parent feedback? I don't necessarily see the disadvantage of having parent feedback, but we might be asking them a different set of questions. I've been pleasantly surprised at how honest parents have been with us. Like if I'm looking at my charts on the screen time question, like we ask parents in a separate demographic survey, do you have rules around screen time? And a lot of parents admitted that like they either straight up don't, or they're trying their best, but they have a hard time being consistent with it. At the beginning of this process, we were like, I don't know, like how honest are parents going to be? They've been very honest. And I think also getting their perspective on here's everything we're learning from the kids, here's the ideal of what they want and what they need. I think there's also a reality emerging here of there's going to be issues we're learning about happening within the private homes that like the city can't necessarily touch. Or, we have to be sensitive about the reality of like, we don't want to be rolling out recommendations that sound like we're shaming parents or putting the onus of an issue on parents. And so getting their perspective on like, how are you personally struggling with XYZ issue? What do you need your programs and your community to be supporting in order for you to feel supported as an individual parent or caregiver? I feel like getting their perspective, but making sure they have a different set of specific parent caregiver centered questions, distinct from the kids. Because we're kind of asking the kids, like, tell us your dream, right? Like, tell us your hopes and dreams. What's your ideal after school program? If you could do anything, after school, what would you do? If you had a magic wand, like, how would you have your life? And we're just hearing from a lot of them, like, they want to be with their friends, their pets, have full access to snacks, and have free time, right? Like, that's what they want. And I'm like, me too, dude.
I know, I
But
want full access to snacks.
yeah, I was like, you guys are speaking the dream. And it's like, and it's so cute and funny. And at the same time, I'm like, yeah, they want what like we all want. Like, we just want to be taken care of and feel okay and have like agency over our lives. But then, yeah, posing to the parents, like, where do you struggle with like, perhaps personally, like meeting your ideal needs for your family? I feel like we could learn a lot there because it at the end of the day, it is about the recommendations are like, what can community be doing? Not putting it back on parents of like finger wagging and being like, this is what you should be doing instead.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Yeah, in the child, we separated them out in that way that it almost falls under that same.
I was
And
thinking
yeah,
about it as a teachable moment for some folks. If so, there's probably people in the industry that would be interested in hearing
Yeah.
what the kids have to say.
yeah.
So it's an opportunity for them, um, but certainly taking what they have to say with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I was thinking about um the same, the fundamental, like, how do we not shame parents?
Yeah.
But I do think that there are people that we can shame and we should shame. And I think that goes to, institutions that are that can do stuff about it, that have the capacity to look, that have the capacity to change and grow. And then how do we roll it? Yeah, what does that look like? Because, just even based on like the priorities of the chip in general, it is like this question about like what do our institutions have the responsibility to do at a systems wide level?
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
thought of another group that the group of youth that does funding for Greater Worcester might be an interesting group to give an opportunity to talk about that. Because that would be educational for them as well for issues that they might want to fund.
What program is that? Do you know the name of it?
It's
Um,
Let me see if I
Youth Community in Action or something.
Hmm.
It's Greater Worcester Community Foundation.
Philanthropic youth group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
What is it called?
God. Youth something in action, I think.
We're all looking it up as we speak.
I don't like writing
I
them.
know.
Oh
But
my-
I'm glad you mentioned that because I haven't heard much about the youth.
Youth for Community Improvement, YCI.
Oh,
That's
oh,
it. Yes.
YCI.
Yeah, Youth for Community Improvement. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
Takes a village.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea because they really, I mean, I don't know, I haven't heard a lot about this group and what, like, I'm not sure what they are, I know they obviously provide them, with the, training and education to be able to, look at some of the different brands and, to have that kind of understanding. But it would definitely be interesting. Well, they have a thing, see about what last year's cohort accomplished. Yeah, I just haven't heard a lot about them. So I think that would.
I've worked with them in the past and we've received money from them and I've also done some of their trainings and one of my daughters went through the program. So I'm like, I think that's a great idea actually because they and like going back to like the goal of like informing people that are funders, that this is like this is what we want. We want to inform where funding is coming from in order to move the tide. That's the best way to move tide. And so actually, I wonder if now that we're saying that out loud, now I feel like how could this be used for the philanthropic community?
Right.
Yeah, Casey actually had a point when, it comes to writing out the recommendations and how we frame them, making them very specific to different audiences. So like making clear to funders, like, here's what the CY chip means for you, making clear to, institutional leaders at UMass or the city itself, like, here's what the CY chip means for you and really spelling it out because everybody's going to need to interpret it differently depending on what mechanism of
Yeah.
power they have.
Yeah, based on what lens they're looking at it through. That's a really great idea, actually, because I think that this is like, I feel like I'm just running against the wall at this point of like people do not know how to operationalize ideas.
Yeah. And we thought too, it's like with the CY chip is a really good opportunity for us to like frame these reports and recommendations to various
Yeah.
audiences and then see, we probably will want to do that eventually for like the upcoming CHA and the new chip. Can you believe? But yeah, and this is a little more creative down the way, but like I was thinking it would also be great. We oftentimes have like a letter to the community that we write, like actually having the kids involved with writing that themselves of like, I'm just supposed to be a vessel for them and their perspectives, and like writing, with them, for them, like, hey, you talk to us, we're the young people, we're telling you what we need to succeed. Here's what's going on. Kind of as just addressing everybody to, yeah, exactly. It does take a village. And it's these kids have been very open and honest with us. Like I thought that it was going to be a little, we certainly had the shy ones, but it was so wonderful. The community leaders that we had who were running the conversations know these kids very personally. And so they were able to help coax even the shyer ones to open up. And we learned things that I'm like, oh, I didn't even think we were going to explore this topic until we had crossed the bridge, of even just like currently as we speak, we're culminating through the data of like, we asked the question, who do you feel safe with? And the majority of the kids did not name people, they named their pets or things that make them feel safe, not people. And in fact, a lot of them answered the question in an inverse way of they told us what does not make them feel safe. They couldn't necessarily articulate, it was like, puppy makes me feel safe. I don't like when people look at me. I don't like when people touch me without asking. I don't like being told I have to hug. Like they rattled off immediately what doesn't make them feel safe. And so I'm like, oh, didn't think we were going to have to look at it through this lens. They are informing me of how I need to like adjust the design of this project.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. I mean, I think in general, as humans, if you like ask somebody like, tell me what you're good at versus like, tell me what you're not good at,
Yeah.
we develop that I know I dislike thing more easily. It's so much more accessible than the I like thing. A
Yeah.
preference versus a non-preference. And so that makes so much sense that with children who are still navigating their own feelings, that it's easier to say, I know what doesn't make me feel good versus I can identify what makes me feel good. I don't have words
Yeah.
for it yet. Oh, that's really
Yeah.
interesting. That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Makes so
Yeah.
much sense.
I'm excited to show you guys. We should probably honestly have this done pretty quickly, at least a first draft. And so I'll send it to this group to take a look for sure. But yeah, I think we're going to learn a lot through the analysis process and also through the reflection process as well.
What do you think that first draft, when you say quickly, what's your ambition?
My ambition, that's a great way to frame it. Honestly, if I ignore all the other things I need to do, it could be done by Friday. That
Oh,
is
that's
unlikely.
crazy.
But that is unlikely. But I am guessing, when does this group meet next?
That was literally the point of my question was like, can we put you on the next agenda already?
That's my goal. That is my goal, is that we would have it in a pretty cleaned up place to share with you by your next meeting in March.
Ooh.
Yeah, let me see. So the 17th. Yep, March 17th.
Oh, yeah, we would definitely have it done by then.
I thought I remembered like a deadline you would put on yourself for April. So does that sound like we'll actually get a chance to look at it before others?
Yeah, I think this group would probably be the first to see it, because I don't think that we would have the youth meetings set up by March 17th. I think we might need a little more time.
Well, that is fantastic. Thank you so much, Chumpy. And we are really excited to see the data and hear what comes from that. So
Yeah, it's been fun. I never get to talk to the kids of Worcester. It's like
Right.
Youthster. They're hilarious. But yeah, it's been an interesting time. But I'll be sure to coordinate with you all, and we can start brainstorming about how we can actually like get in front of kids. And I'll be going back to our conversation leaders and also seeing if they might be able to coordinate and help support kind of doing some reflexive sessions with the kids that they helped organize us with.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Raquel, did you want to share now?
That was what I had.
That was what you were sharing. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks, Stephanie.
Yeah, thank you. So we can go to Jordy now for the DYO updates, or any of our DYO folks.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so for the Division of Youth Opportunities for Recreation Worcester, we're still on planning mode now. We have hired the two administrative assistants, as well as we are in the process of hiring the youth worker coach. What's the name of the position that I know we just renamed it, Raquel, you remember?
Yeah, the youth worker coach.
That's what it was? Okay.
Yeah.
So we're hiring a youth worker coach for the YouthWorks program that we have. And we're preparing like curriculum and trainings and so forth right now. And we're also preparing to start doing interviews and hiring in March for youth workers. So we'll be sending out all that information as we have it, as well as registration. As things are coming up, we are getting ready to hire, hopefully extend that hiring period from years past, where we only had about a month and a half. We're hoping that we get about 2 to 3 months altogether for hiring. But things are going well for Recreation Worcester and also Worcester Cares for Kids. We have a new cohort that just started. And we are still planning on doing maybe 2 to 3 more cohorts by the end of the summer or by the beginning of the summer. So we'll be sending out information as it comes. We had a really successful cohort the last time around. We had about 40 youth who participated and graduated and got their certificates as well.
I'm gonna ask 2 quick questions just before you
Mhm.
go on. So going back to the youth jobs, how many do you all for Recreation Worcester have for this summer?
So we're hiring about 100 youth overall. So ours has not diminished. We haven't had outside of YouthWorks funding, all our other funding has been intact. The one funding that we always have trouble with is the earmark for Recreation Worcester because we don't know if we received it until October, which is past the time where Recreation Worcester passes. So it kind of supplements whatever. We just have to figure it out until that kicks
Yeah.
in. And if that doesn't kick in, it unfortunately turns into tax levy money, which we try to avoid at all costs. But we will not be diminishing the amount of youth that we'll be hiring this year so far.
And my second question was for the other program, Worcester Cares for Youth. What are you able to track, like with the young people that get their certificate, like if they are then engaged as babysitters, as caregivers?
Certainly no, just because we don't have that continuity after the fact.
Mhm.
One thing that has been happening quite a bit recently is that some of our youth workers have been coming from as participants for some time or years past, and they're now becoming youth workers because of that. Um, so we've been hearing a lot of that. We've been seeing quite a few of our mentorship leadership experience program youth getting into a lot of youth jobs. Some of them are into Recreation Worcester, some are in youth council now. So they're expanding in terms of what we have been intentionally trying to provide, which is a pipeline towards youth work altogether. Um, so yeah, we're hearing that quite a bit as of late.
Okay.
But yeah, so then we have the SSY program. The SSY program is up and running finally. So we are now preparing how to spend down all the rest of the money that we weren't able to spend down in the beginning of the year because nobody was hired and the program was not running. But things are going okay now. We're having conversations around protocols and how things, things as they come up. But we seem to have a good team so far from what I've seen. And Jen has been part of some of those conversations. So I don't know what your thoughts are so far.
No, I think that things have been, going well, now that we are where we are. So,
But
yeah.
yeah, so we are spending down the money by putting a lot of different trainings for the SSYI folks. Given that it's a large amount to spend down, we have opened it to other SSYI agencies within Massachusetts through the collaboration with the executive office of Health and Human Services and Commonwealth Corporation. So right now we have Ready for Life training that is going to be starting now in March. Then we are going to have training with the UTEC, who provides a lot of violence prevention training all over the state. That's going to be in April and May. And then lastly, we'll have trainings with Urban Peace Institute. They're based out of Los Angeles, and where they are at, folks who get into any violence intervention work have to go through certification trainings with them. So we're going to be bringing them to Massachusetts for SSYI certification trainings in June, prior to the end of the fiscal year. For Shannon right now, we are up and running. The only thing is some of the or all of the partner contracts have been a little held up in the law office in the past few weeks. I did hear earlier in the week that they are finally coming out, and we should be starting to send them out to the partner agencies soon. But overall, there is no gap in services given that we worked with the state to get them everything they needed on time this year. So that's really kind of all the updates for Worcester DYO. As you know, we have Ricardo Basurto now for Community Engagement Specialist, and we are also going to extend an offer for the Worcester Youth Violence Prevention Initiative Program Manager. That is going to be a gentleman by the name of Stephen Murphy.
Can we just take a minute to let Ricardo introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about yourself?
More than happy to. I've been really excited to be joining this team. Last week was my first one, so it's snowing in pretty early on, so that was exciting. I have been living in the Worcester, Shrewsbury area since 2022. My wife, she's a professor at Holy Cross, so I'm really excited to be joining this area. I have a lot of experience both in the United States, mostly also in Mexico, working with college students and learning communication and doing community engagement for local government as well in North Carolina before doing it here. So really excited. I'm trying to catch up with as many names and organizations and acronyms as I have to familiarize with, but I'm pretty sure I will be seeing a lot of your faces in these and other meetings. So it's okay, well, here. I know we all wear multiple caps at the same time, so really excited to be here. If you have any questions, any doubt, any suggestions, more than happy to try to help with it. And of course, if needed to reach out to certain communities or not, I'm native speaker Spanish and I conversation enough in Portuguese, so more than happy to help with any efforts to reach out to the communities.
What's your favorite color?
Mm-hmm.
But what's your favorite color? You didn't tell us that part.
Oof. I'm between purple and red. I like them.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Oh, this is purple. Doesn't look, but it's purple.
Important information to know.
Well, you have a lot of experience, and it's wonderful that you have joined the team. And yes, we'll try the acronyms are crazy in this.
Yeah.
In all of these meetings in all of these areas, so we'll try to make sure that we're remembering to use the actual words. It's a lot of letters.
Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. I put in the chat also, Jody, the National Gang Conference. I don't know if you do have more money left that you're trying to spend in terms of training. We sent the whole SSYI team back in 2018, and it was a phenomenal experience. The training, it's a national training. You get nationally certified, and then I think Ron and his group went back a couple years and might have presented. We have had some of our Worcester officers have presented at this conference many times as well. But in case it takes place in August, but I just put it in the link in there in case you wanted to look into it.
So the one question, because this has come up quite a little bit, is my understanding that we weren't allowed to use SSYI money for out-of-state travel. But
Mm.
is
So I'm wondering if something, I don't know, I don't remember what happened in 2018, but I'm wondering if they made an exception for that because as you're saying it, I remember something about that, but I'm thinking they must have allowed it because we took all our folks. So, I don't
yeah,
know.
no, so because I know that UTech has, we were in conversation around the training, and they were saying that it would be amazing for me to attend some of the national conferences that there are on violence prevention,
Yeah,
given that I've been serving as a person for violence prevention within Worcester.
right.
But my understanding is that both the city nor SSYI would allow for out-of-state travel. So, I mean, I'll do some digging, but
Yeah.
just mentioning it.
I mean, I agree. That would be great for you to attend. I mean, even if we can't send the whole team, but yeah, you definitely. Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah. And I don't know I don't know if how we did, if we did some line item movements or I don't know what we did to get to go, but I know we went. So somehow they figured it out.
Yeah, I'll do some digging and see if that's a possibility.
Yeah.
That's a real missed opportunity if we're not able to make those kinds of things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
We have in our budget line item some PD money, so we can probably cover the cost that isn't covered by the grant.
Yeah. So that
Yeah.
might be
Okay.
good. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking even to like definitely Jordy and maybe
Colleen?
what's her name? Yes, Colleen.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. All right.
Great.
Did you have more updates? Did we interrupt you? I can't remember, Jody.
Nope, that was the end of it. Yeah, that's all the programs. Unless Raquel has anything on the youth agenda that's new from last month.
Nope, just what Tempe just said.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
geez.
sorry. What I meant was the after school master plan, not the youth agenda. Sorry.
I was like, um, we are trucking along. The newest program that we are now launching is the Friendly House is now developing an after school program at Wauwikis. And so we've been really working on that Lincoln Street neighborhood area. That's been like a huge focus for us. It's not like exactly on Lincoln Street, but it's pretty close, especially because Wauwikis um, connects all the way to like Hanover Insurance. And so there's a pathway because there's a huge, beautiful park back there. And so we're hoping that we're launching that. The other thing is we're working with Josh Croak, who has started like at Lincoln Street School, using the model of like Promise Neighborhood. And so they're currently working with a faith-based institution, and so we are also tapping in because we are also trying to partner with others that are designing after-school opportunities. And then finally, we are working with Lincoln Village, who is currently trying to recreate a similar model that Boys and Girls Club um Boys and Girls Club have at the Great Brook Valley. And so we're in conversations right now. There Lincoln Village is I'm scheduling Lincoln Village to talk with the Worcester Housing Authority, so that they can kind of get a sense of how that relationship works and the benefits, the pros and cons of that kind of partnership.
That would be amazing. It would
Right?
Yeah.
they have the building where the pool is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the person that's been running that for 27 years is retiring.
Oh,
Uh,
shoot.
yeah, and so this is an opportunity for them to rethink um, also, I feel like 27 years of amazing service, but also, you know,
Yeah.
27 years as the same person doing the same thing, can have its also areas of, missed opportunity. So, uh,
Mhm.
I think that this will bring in someone with youth development, like already framework there, which I think would change the tone of what their youth programming will look like moving forward. And so we're trying to broker that deal as we speak. And so so Lincoln Village, the Lincoln Street area, which was one of the areas identified by our families as a high need, has a few projects getting started to really enhance the stretch of that very, very long street from, all the way to the top to all the way to the bottom. And we also did launch we did fund the St. Bernard's program there as well. And so we're really having high impact at the of such a large length street that was so high in need. And so
Excellent. I love to hear that there's love going into that area.
yeah, it's so neat. I need and so dense in population.
Mhm.
So we're really excited to be. And the last thing I want to say is, we're also trying to broker connecting smaller programs to larger funding pools. Um, and so we have worked with United Way to get them to allow applications for their summer AZOS funding to be like three small organizations coming in together, instead of like one large, because their funding requires anyone who's applying to provide 3 days of programming service, which is almost impossible for the smaller ones. And so now we met with them to consider applications with three of them coming together, where one of them each provides 1 day, 1 day, 1 day, so that they can have access to those funds.
Yeah.
And then the second one is we're meeting with the Greater Worcester Community Foundation on Friday to do a similar thing, to consider applications that look a little bit different, to support our more informal providers, to grow their opportunity to access funding. So lots going on, really cool stuff. Really excited about the stuff that's going on in the after school master plan.
Very cool stuff. Yes. Thank you for that. That's awesome. All right. So we are right up into the end of our meeting, essentially. Is there anything that anyone else wants to share? Updates, announcements, any goings on, anything that we should know about that hasn't yet been talked about? Brian, you guys going to be in school till July or what?
Looks that way.
Yeah, did I just see you guys are out again tomorrow?
What?
I don't know. I mean, I don't. Last I looked, it looked like, what was it, like up to 3 inches, but it's like mid morning. It's like between 8 and 11 or something like that. So that could throw a wrench into things, but I hope not.
Yeah, I'm thinking they were probably gonna do a late start and it's gonna hit right around the time the storm's here. So
Yeah.
they're gonna end up not doing it,
Not doing it like
not
that.
doing school.
You think school? You think we won't have school tomorrow?
I think you won't have school.
That's wild.
I think I think I think people are barely out of their houses.
Yeah, you're right. No, I didn't get plowed
Yeah.
out until my plow guy got stuck in a snowbank in Charlton last night. So I
Oh,
didn't get
wow.
me and my two neighbors on one on each side didn't get plowed out until today, about like
Yeah.
2 hours ago.
Yeah, I know the sidewalks are not plowed and the bus stops are not plowed. So I don't know what they're gonna do about that.
Yeah. I mean, they've been calling the next day off pretty early these last 2, 3 times, like
Right.
Yeah.
like already hours ago by now. So
I know.
the later we get into this early evening, I don't know. I guess we'll see.
We shall see. But alrighty. Well, thank you everyone for all
Yeah.
your input and information, and we will keep you all posted, and we will see you. So March 17th, St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, one last thing actually. For Black History Month, the Burncoat Black Student Union is doing an apparel fundraiser sale.
Ooh.
So we have hoodies and t-shirts and wristbands and laptop stickers if anyone would like to support.
Oh, how do we buy it?
Exactly.
I can add it to the link or send it in the email. What do you think?
Send it to
Whichever.
Jody.
Okay.
And then I'll tell everyone else. And include pictures, please.
Yeah, they have pictures. It's a Google order
I
form.
want to see what I'm buying.
Yeah, no, and
I
they're
mean, I'm
comfortable.
gonna buy it, but
Yeah.
They're very comfortable too. They're nice quality, and it's happy colors on Main South. Really, really sweet, like Asian guy that's like super nice, and
Oh yeah, we know
Oh,
happy colors.
local. Okay.
yeah, so he
Okay,
does a good job.
sounds good.
All right, I'll email that out. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. And, good luck
Did
getting
we
up
adjourn?
to. Yes, we'll
Oh,
motion to
I make
adjourn.
a motion.
Thank you, Judy. Second. Thank you, Bryant. All right. All right. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
kids. Stay
Bye.
safe.
All right.